Hello, and welcome back to the channel. We're in the woods, but also today we are talking about something that you can do that may drastically change the way that you look at things when it comes to setting your composition, whether it's photo or video, and that is 35mm film. My name is Brady, and welcome back to the classroom. If you find this video helpful or entertaining, or any of the other ones on this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. So we're talking 35mm film. Why does that apply to your cinematography or your photography? What's different? It's just more expensive. Okay, so a little bit of a backstory. I'm not coming from years and years and years of experience in film photography, but I have been shooting photography for 10 years and doing cinematography for 3 or 4. So how, again, does this help? I'm starting to realize very, very quickly how impactful each photo must be. There must be a reason for your composition, a reason for, there's a spider on my camera. Sarah would be freaking out right now, but we're gonna keep going. So there's a reason that you're setting that perfect composition, and you really need to think about it. And there's times I've sat there for like 5 or so minutes just, sitting there thinking how to compose this perfectly. And it does a great job of changing your perspective. Instead of just spraying and praying like you would do with digital, you really have to be mindful of your composition and of what you're shooting. Asking yourself, could this be better? Do I want to go portrait? Do I want to go landscape? Do I want to frame this central, or do I want to frame it along the thirds lines or the grid lines? So there's a lot of questioning going on in your head. So think about it this way. If you've got 1,000,000 chocolate chip cookies, fresh, warm out of the oven, you're not gonna care if you take one and you throw it in your cup of milk and it breaks. Oh no, it's the end of the world. No, but if you've got 1 cookie or 36 cookies, you're gonna look at that and say like, okay, what's the best way to dunk this in the milk? You probably aren't gonna do that, but you get the point. You're gonna value something more if you have fewer, and you're really gonna think that process through, whatever it is. And I wanna say, it's really challenged me the way that I look at not only the way I compose on the film camera, but the way I compose in any video projects that I have, or any photo projects as well, digitally. So it's challenging me to ask myself, do I need this? Is it worth it? How do I tell a story in this one frame? So comparing digital and film, you might be over there asking like, digital is sharper, you can shoot as much as you want, you can delete, you can see it right away. There's so many benefits of that. Why would you backtrack to film? I won't shoot everything on film. One, because it's just crazy expensive, and it's just easier a lot of the times to shoot in digital. But there are times and places for shooting film. Like one, when you really wanna challenge yourself with a composition. You wanna say, I've got 10 shots, or I've got 36 shots, however many you wanna give yourself to get the best work possible. Well, yeah, I'm gonna challenge the heck out of myself to make sure every single shot is framed perfectly. But if I'm going out and, I need something shot digitally, I need it sharp, I need the resolution, there's that reliability point of you can't see film and what's going on. If you're shooting, say, a wedding or an event, yeah, you're gonna shoot digital. But film photography has this character to it that everybody knows, and I knew it was, characteristic and whatever, but then I started shooting it and I said, wow, this is awesome. And it's loaded with imperfections that make it perfect. Does that make sense? Film just has a way of capturing dynamic range in the most pleasing way, and it's not digital or crushed or clipped and just looks bad and ugly. Film is just natural and beautiful and authentic, and I think that's why so many people love it. And no, I'm not talking, I'm not educated as nearly as close as many people are in film photography, so I don't want it to come off that I'm a master. What I'm really saying is it just has this like rawness that I kind of fell in love with very, very fast. And it has a certain look to it that we can't achieve digitally. We can try and we can get it close, but it won't be as authentic as film. So I guess the point that I'm getting at with this long rant about film photography that you may or may not care about is that it's helped me, even though I've been shooting for 10 years in photography, it still has helped me to understand why I want to set the settings that way, why I want to set the shutter speed or the aperture, and really think about my depth of field instead of just shooting and saying, I like that, I don't like that. It's challenged me to sit there, compose my camera, put things on the grid lines or center the image or change around my composition and really be mindful of the impact that it has on the story, which ultimately is what we're trying to do. We're telling a story in just one frame. And then from there, whether you are shooting photography or shooting videography or cinematography, you can translate that over, and then when you're shooting in camera on one of your projects on set, you might, something might catch in your mind and be like, that composition looked really good. I liked that, I thought that out. So now I'm gonna think this composition out and ask myself why I'm doing this. Instead of just shooting it because it looks cool and it looks good, it makes me ask myself why. And I think that's the root of everything, and the root of getting better is instead of just asking yourself how to do it, you're asking yourself why you're doing it. And then that's just gonna unravel all the answers hidden inside of like why your composition is centered or why your composition is whatever. And it definitely doesn't happen overnight, but you slowly start to build this thought process when composing, making you just more mindful of your shots. So I guess my side of things, I shoot with a Pentax MX, which is a very compact little film camera. I love this thing. And my lens is a Super Takumar M42 on this. A lot of kit lenses on film or base lenses on film cameras are 50 millimeters, because I guess that's the closest to what the human eye sees. And then I've been running a Portra 400 film stock through it, which is ISO or ASA 400 film, which I guess is the most diverse scenario, whether you're at night or during the day in bright light. It's kind of that middle ground, because with film, you can't adjust the ISO like with digital. You can only adjust the shutter and the aperture. So some things that I've kind of learned is that you want to overexpose like a stop or maybe even 2 stops, because it retains a lot of that high end that digital doesn't. And then if you're exposing about even or 0 or 1 stop under, you're gonna start to get these washed out shadows, which may not be ideal for you. It may be ideal for you, but that's a little bit of what I've realized thus far. Again, I'm a rookie. I don't know much. So if you have any tips or tricks for either myself or anybody else starting film, please leave a comment down below so all of us can just go through and say like, that's a really good point. I didn't know that. So if you're in a situation where you cannot shoot film, either you don't have a darkroom access or you don't have a camera store that will develop the film, or you just can't afford going out to buy a new film camera and film, I understand that. But one thing that you can do with any of your digital cameras is to go out and ask yourself, I've got 36 shots, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna better myself with just these 36 shots? And you're not gonna look at the camera as well. You're not gonna look at the monitor and say like, okay, that looks good. No, you're just gonna look at the composition, all right? And then you're gonna feel it out and say like, okay, I want this. You're gonna walk around a little bit, frame your composition, and then take the shot. Now you got 35 left. So challenge yourself, limit yourself, and you'll start to realize that you think so much about each and every shot and value each and every shot. So short rant made very long. Challenge yourself with 36 exposures, whether it's actually on film or if it is on digital or with video, and just think about your composition. And of course, we all want to see this as usual. So use the hashtag Brady's Classroom and upload your film photos once they're developed, or your digitals, or whatever it is. And I would be happy, as well as the rest of the community would be very happy to see all of your work. So interesting concept today, out in the wilderness with the film camera. I just figured it was something really important to talk about. Composition is huge when it comes to your framing, and I can't stress it enough. So I figured it would be an important and a fun video to touch on. But that is all that I have for you guys today. I'll see you next week, and class dismissed.